Hello and welcome to Season of War. We have an exciting match for you today as Carl's back on the channel with one of your older armies at this point. I mean, still only a 2-year-old army, but one you haven't played as much lately.
No, not at all. But I'm excited to bring them out again.
Yeah, and in particular, in a very interesting matchup because we have the Stalliarch Bonereapers facing off against the Stalliarch Bonereapers today. Yeah. So this is actually one of the options for our premium members in one of our weekly votes about our matchups, and they chose for us to play the mirror match today. So first mirror match on the channel, and not often something you see in battle reports. But we have two similar armies, but also very different in terms of our sub-faction choice. Means we play the game very differently. But before we get into our list, do you want to take us through the realm and mission, Carl?
Sure. We are playing Starstrike, so there are no objectives on the field right now. Very wide open. Yep. A objective will land in the middle of the table to start of battle round 2, and one on each of our territories in the middle in the third battle round. So kind of a goal of ours right now is to spread out and cover as much territory as possible. Yep. And we are playing on the realm of Hysh, which unfortunately doesn't really mean very much for us because we already have a 6-up ignore for wounds, and with the new GHB, it doesn't really stack.
Yeah, and we can't use the command ability.
No. I mean, the only thing is we can get another Mystic Shield. So
which that is impactful, especially against the catapults, which have no rend.
For sure.
Especially for you being in Mortis Praetorians. But why don't you tell me about your list?
Sure. I am running 20-20-10 Mortec Guard. Like you said, Mortis Praetorians with the big man himself, Katakros. And his lackey, Arcan the Black, and 2 catapults.
Nice.
So 7 drops.
Awesome, yeah. And I conveniently am also 7 drops. So actually coming into this before deployment, the roll-off was huge because at even drops, it meant whoever dropped first has the choice of the turn. Correct. I won that roll. So I finished deployment first and will have choice. But to take you through my list, I have 2 blocks of Mortec, a 40 and another 40, and then 10 Death Riders in behind. And then I also have 2 catapults, but my hero loadout, obviously having much more bodies, less points for heroes. I have the Liege Tavlos and a Bone Shaper, so more bodies, less heroes.
Yeah, and more heroes, less bodies.
Yeah. And worth noting also, I'm in Stalliarch Lords, so again, premium members chose for the sub-faction for me to play. They didn't want to see the full Mortis Praetorians versus Mortis Praetorians. So this is just a different style of OBR, and we'll get to see how these 2 different styles and takes on the army kind of match up against each other.
For sure.
And then looking at auxiliary objectives, the 2 I picked, the first one was marked for death, so you get to choose a unit that's not a hero for me to kill.
That is not a hero. I will choose the 20 block of Mortec off to the side.
So they're marked for death, and my second auxiliary was Prey on the Weak. So to kill all your Mortec battle line. Hard to do, but obviously I have the body advantage.
For sure. And I'll take you through mine. I went a different way. I went Assassinate and Headhunter, so I have to kill all your heroes, and you must pick one of your heroes to die.
I'll pick the Liege.
The Liege. Yeah. So if your heroes are dead, then I complete my auxiliary. So I went for the hero hunting, you went for the body hunting.
I'm weak on heroes, you're weak on bodies.
Exactly. It reflects the nature of our lists.
Yeah, for sure. I was thinking about making him bait. So I'm like, you're going to want to kill my heroes no matter what. But we went for some of the more interesting ones.
Exactly.
Otherwise, getting into the game, I do have choice of how it starts, but it actually is a really tough decision. This is probably the best opportunity for me to kill Arcan while he's hidden. I can just barely get angles on him if I move wide. I think here I am actually to take first turn, try and get that kill on Arcan.
Sure.
But with that, we'll be jumping right into things. OBR versus OBR. Yep. We're starting off OBR turn 1.
Stalliarch Lords turn 1.
All right, so Stalliarch Lords turn 1, as you said. I took the aggressive play in terms of taking first turn here. Best chance to shoot off Arcane. We didn't mention in the intro, but you do have chromatic cards as well,
Correct.
so I knew you'd potentially be able to
Reroll his saves.
Rerolling saves with Arcane, which is like completely nullifies the output of the catapults, right?
Correct.
It's impossible to get through him at that point.
Yeah.
So I went, obviously, for the kill on Arcane, as you can see by him still being on the table. I didn't get it, so obviously just moved up my units to try and start taking board control. I do have the body advantage.
Correct.
My hope was to kill one of your heroes, and then your hero advantage is largely
Nullified as well.
a big piece of it is nullified. You lose a big piece of your army. Unfortunately, even using my Triumph to reroll wounds on one of my catapults, I did get 4 hits through. You're on a 4-up save, so
Yeah,
average is that you take 2 of those hits.
Which would kill him.
Which would kill him. But you made all your saves there, so he is sitting on 10 out of 11 wounds.
Correct.
Now, worth noting, I did my Bone Tithe Nexus's ability to do 1 mortal wound to Arcane and got the 2 up on that. The reason I did that was exactly that. He's at 11 wounds to start with. If I got 2 catapults hits through on him, he'd still be alive. So I had to either get 3 hits through or find another way to chip off that wound, which obviously great at that point.
Yep. And an interesting thing as well is you measured 19 inches out from me. With the +3 movement from OPR, my maximum threat range is 19. So since you have measured 19 inches out, I'm not going to be able to charge you, even with a boxcar.
Yeah, unless you use chromatic cogs to ramp up speed at the trade-off that you wouldn't be rerolling saves.
Correct.
So you have tough decisions, but
sure.
obviously that was quick turn 1 for Stalliarch Lords, and we're going into turn 1 for Mortis
Mortis
Praetorians.
On my first turn, much the same as yours, the catapult went, didn't do any damage.
Bounced off all the armor.
Exactly. Moved up aggressively as I could, but Mortec aren't the fastest units.
Well, yours aren't.
No, mine aren't. But Arcane was able to rocket up the field and get 2 wounds on the 40 block.
Yep. So first wounds that have stuck to this game so far.
Exactly. Yeah.
Despite all the catapult shooting.
Yeah, but he is a strong boy right now with a +1 save from Katakros.
And then
rerolling. He's a 3-up rerollable save with a 5-up ignore, and if you do a wound to him, he teleports out.
I could have got a lot more attacks on him this turn, but I almost just kind of let me use it to get my back bodies up further, because I almost, like we were saying, I almost didn't want him to teleport. Right? Where you did want him to teleport away.
Correct,
so.
yeah.
And if I had piled in like more around him, it would have been a lot closer of a charge for Katakros.
Correct.
So why don't we see where the first objective comes down first?
Yep, you go ahead.
So 1 over here.
Yeah, D3.
So
right in the middle.
Center. Okay. So first objective is coming down right in the center. This is perfect little battlefield for us. So, yeah, you're definitely going to have to come in close.
Yep.
At this point. Well, I mean, either of us are, right? Whoever.
For sure.
We'll go into priority now.
Priority. 4.
6.
It's an interesting choice.
It is an interesting choice. I think I am going to take it here, though.
Sounds good.
We'll go into Stalliarch Lords,
Lords,
turn 2.
2.
All right, Stalliarch Lords, turn 2 here. Again, using my bodies and trying to take board control, press that advantage. I retreated a big block out here just to more securely get more bodies on the objective, knowing that I'm not going to do much to Arcan, and I charged over here into Arcan. I only did one wound with all those guys just to send him away, make him teleport. And really I wanted to charge to tag those guys. So I tagged your Mortek, but not Katakros, just so they're not like free to run, and they're kind of tied up.
For sure.
Or at least they're, they might run, but they're not charging. So tying things up, and same story over here, moving my Death Riders up and then getting a big charge so I could go in, tag your catapult, get into both units of Mortek, and tying up the big 20 block just barely at one end.
Yep.
So not many attacks back. You did kill 2 Death Riders, but that's fine if I can tie up those units.
For sure.
Shooting wise, we got our first damage through on one of our catapults against another catapult. Yep. So finally some friendly fire going off there. For sure. And that's pretty much it. I did tag the 2 spots, just the edges of where these objectives come down.
Just in case that they come down on those.
Just in case they come down here. No matter where they come down, I have at least one body on there.
For sure.
Which means hard for you to take it with Arcan.
Yeah. And the interesting piece for me was where I teleport Arcan when you did that damage. Yeah. And I decided to bring him back in my fire base to send him as a missile again somewhere.
Yeah. Let him be flexible. But that's it for my turn. I do store my 2 points. The objective in the center is going to be a little hard for you to take right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of Mortek there.
Yeah, we'll go into Mortis Praetorians, turn 2 though.
Turn 2, yep. So Mortis Praetorians turn 2.
Yep.
I knew because of the amount of bodies you had that I needed to whittle you down as best as I can. So I threw forward my 2 big pieces of Katakros and Arcan. They did quite well. The other thing as well is you tagged my Mortec Crawler with your Death Riders.
Yep.
And the rule for having a minimum range is if you have the unit that's tagging that piece
Has to be
wholly within.
wholly within. So
Correct.
Little trick that I learned here.
For sure.
So you could, Carl was able to still shoot that catapult. Obviously, at the time, doing 10 damage.
10 damage to the Death Rider unit, and my Mortec being able to finish the rest of them off.
Yeah.
So I have both catapults now free. Another kind of sneaky thing that I tried to do was I left the 5 wounds on my Mortec Crawler on my right-hand side so that he could shoot his special shot, targeting your Bone Shaper there. 2d6 if I was to hit 5 and over, he would have been auto-slain, but unfortunately I rolled a 3, so he's still alive.
Yes.
And my Crawler is at 5 wounds.
Yes, sir.
So I have basically no wounds taken to my army except for the Crawler. Because of the insane healing from Katakros and Arcan.
And obviously like even my Death Riders into your 10 block, like with Shield Wall and the +1 save.
For sure, yeah,
Huge.
3 up rolling.
Yeah.
I do have 2 big pieces in the middle of the board, but you still have quite a bit to chew through. And with Starstrike being the amount of points for the battle round, you're going to score quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I didn't score anything in that
Yeah.
round.
So at the end of my turn, I was feeling real comfortable with where the game was and tagging all your stuff. Obviously, not realizing that you could still shoot at those guys there. So that hurts. Obviously losing that unit because I would love to keep you tied up there.
Yep.
Feel a little more back on my back foot than I thought I would be.
And we'll see where we're
jump
at.
into priority.
Yep. That's a
1.
three.
So it's
I
all
will
you.
take it.
All right.
Determining where our objectives are, 1, 2 on my left-hand side and 5, 6 on my right-hand side. So for me, it'll be 5. So it'll be on the right-hand extreme for
myself,
me. Both sides.
Yeah, so over to this end of the board.
Sounds good.
So yeah, objectives coming down on that side. Obviously, we're to be shifting down here.
For sure.
So jumping into Mortis Praetorians, turn 3.
Turn 3. All right, Mortis Praetorians turn 3. So I pushed up, continued pushing up into the middle. You pulled up some of your Mortec, freeing up my 20 blocks to crash into the 40 mans. Didn't wipe them out, but at this point in the game, with the amount of healing that Arcan and Katakros both put out.
Yeah, and so you just barely take this objective by a couple models, which is unfortunate. And that was before I pulled models there. I counted out when I was like, pulling my casualties to try and keep that one, but it wasn't possible there.
Yeah. If you were to keep that center, then we could.
Could have been a game still. Well, could have been interesting with a potential double of high scoring on my part. But
For sure.
Here, Carl, you store your own in the center one. So that's 6 points for you.
Yep.
I'm at maximum probably storing 3 for my own. And then if I win priority, maybe I store yours for an additional 8, putting me at 13.
Yeah.
But there's no way I hold that one and this one and this, you know what I mean? I don't think there's...
Yeah, so I would hold 2 of the objectives for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Which for Starstrike is what your
It's
game
like
plan should
you
be.
get at least 8 points round 4 and 10 points round 5.
Round 5, correct.
So 18, that's just, even if I jump out to that 12-point lead
Yeah.
or 11-point lead, it's not going to be enough.
For sure, for sure. The only thing that we were discussing at the very end of this, and is very relevant in the tournament setting, is your auxiliary objectives.
Yep.
I went very heavy on mine, so I have to kill your Liege Cavalos.
Yep.
So we're just going to roll it out.
Yep.
Since,
I obviously didn't store either of mine, being your battle line and March for Death.
Yes.
So basically what we're doing here is just talking through the last auxiliary. If Carl kills my Liege Cavalos, he would store 2 points for that, which is huge.
Yes.
Whereas I have the chance to deny. So basically, thinking through the game, I'm going to be keeping this guy protected or running him away.
Yep.
But Arcan is fast enough to catch him.
To catch him, for sure.
By if you retreat out round 4, good chance round 5 you're able to catch him.
Correct.
So we're just going to roll that combat real quick.
Correct. So with the +1 from Katakros, here you go. 2s. Yeah, and 3s. There's 1 at -1.
Okay, so he's obviously all his buffs have dropped off.
Yep.
So he's just, that's a 4, loves it.
Looking for 3s. Wounding on 3s. Goes off. -1.
Oh, that goes through.
The 3 for 1.
Okay. Takes 1. Down to 6.
All right. Ebon Claws. 3s.
This is the big one.
He missed 3 times.
Oh,
so
perfect.
And 3s to wound.
He can still do it.
Yeah, -2.
All right.
3 of them. Yep.
Gotta fail all these, so I go from a 3 to a 5.
Yeah.
I saved the first one, so I'm alive.
You
I
save
saved
all
of
3.
them
So
on 6s.
And here comes the
Yeah,
Spectral
so-
Claws. 4
4
mortals.
You nearly do it.
And no.
Okay, so 4 mortals. I got 6s on those. No, 4 mortals. So he's down to 2.
And that will be it. That's my
So,
output for Katakros.
and that's assuming either no matter the order of the turn, I'm not going to stay in combat on my turn. So,
Correct.
we'll
Correct.
keep him alive.
Yeah.
So playing this out, I store my 2 secondaries. That's
Yeah.
about the bright spot for me
Yeah.
today.
So a lot of tournaments nowadays are 20-0, so 16 for a major win, and then 1 for scoring yours or 1
Denying.
for denying. So in this instance, it would be 18.
18-2, yeah.
Which is huge in a tournament setting, for sure.
Well, the 2 points always is big for tiebreakers, right? So,
For sure.
Still have opportunities depending on everything else.
Of course.
Not the best showing for Stalliarch Lords here. As I said, I was feeling great about my positioning and tying things up.
For sure.
Turn 2 at the end of my turn, but then the catapult still being able to shoot that unit was
big.
just devastating.
For sure.
Otherwise, at the time, all your units besides Katakros were tied up.
Yeah.
And even with the double, I think you still would have been tied up back there.
Correct. If I wasn't able to shoot with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even with the double, and I could have not pulled guys there.
Yeah.
That right now it'd be Katakros fighting in the center.
Correct.
And I still hold this objective.
Correct. Because at the moment, even with the help of 40 more tech, I'm only barely scoring that objective in the middle.
Yeah.
Yep.
And otherwise, I think if I had killed Arcan turn 1, different story.
For sure.
So yeah, that would have been big. Now, that was a risky play, taking first and doing that. But
For sure.
looking at this matchup with your RDP generation, you're going to be shield wall all game.
Yeah.
You're on a 3-up, so I knew my Mortek couldn't stand to your Mortek.
Yeah.
Beyond having numbers advantage for maybe
Correct.
a turn or two of combat, so that's
Correct.
why I was trying to tag things.
Yeah.
And prevent you from actually like getting your
big units,
output
yeah.
out into me. So
For sure.
again, a couple things that maybe could have gone my way and made it push the game into later turns, but here pretty decisive where you're again just going to be able to
Grind.
me out from here.
Yeah.
You deny me my objectives or secondary auxiliaries.
Yeah.
I deny yours. So
Yeah. So
yeah,
it's a
that
pretty even exchange on that
18-2,
end.
like you said.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, that'll wrap up this game here today. First mirror match. OBR wins. So that's the takeaway here. Really, there's no losers,
No.
is what I'm going to say.
No,
because I
there's there's still a tithe of bone.
Yes, yeah. And well, I mean, clearly I was the renegade Bonereapers, seeing that you're playing Katakros here. So
for sure.
he's got the
big boys.
the hooligans in line after
Yeah,
this.
for sure.
But again, thanks to everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed this battle report. Special thanks to our premium members who help us with everything on the channel. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting us through the premium membership by hitting the join button below this video. It goes a long way in terms of helping us be able to continue doing this and
sure.
creating content. So
Yeah.
again, hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon in another battle report.